Well, hey there, everybody. I am Levi, and welcome to the first episode of Comics in the Making. Comics in the Making is kind of my way to share with the world the comics that I am creating, the comics that I'm enjoying, the things about comics that I love. It's kind of my love letters to comics. Everything from creating, reading, collecting, uh, you know the thing. There are so many awesome YouTube channels out there in media that addresses comics and does it in a really great way. Creators do it, and people who are just fans, people who are fledgling creators like myself. There's a lot of content out there. What I am offering is a glimpse into my journey as a lifelong fan of comics, a sometimes artist, creator of comics, to pivoting completely to doing my first comic book. And so in 2023, the best way any creator of anything has to let the world know what they're doing is this. So, welcome. Let's ride. Take this ride together. Comics in the Making is something that I thought was a cool idea. I don't just do the comic, publish it, and put it out there, market it, whatever. I like to share with people on social media, what have you, all the steps I'm taking as I go. I like to share, you know, pages while I make them. Over on Twitch, on Saturdays I'll do a live draw where I'm just working on a page, and whoever wants to pop in the chat, we'll just talk comics, whatever comes to mind. I want to sort of condense it. I want to make it a little bit more, digestible, consumable. It's cool if someone's doing like a live draw or whatever, but I wanted to get a little bit more focused on what's happening with my book, the steps I'm taking, maybe some of the pitfalls I'm having, sort of a video journal, if you will, and then just kind of talk comics. There will be videos like this one that are like pre-done. There will be live videos. Now I understand that YouTube is weird when it comes to like algorithms and live stream versus edited videos that people can really watch all the way through. I'm trying to test the waters on how that will end up comparing to doing a live stream on other platforms. However, um, just for right now, just for this video, just for these purposes, I want to let you know who I am and what I'm doing. And hopefully you'll like it and check it out the next time I post some more content. So, without further ado, let's get into comics in the making. Just very in a nutshell. Um, I'm someone who's been a fan of comics since 1987 at least, and collecting heavily all the way through the mid 90s, and then I kind of, you know, left the nest, and you know how that is when you're endeavoring on your own for the first time as an adult. So I had to be a lot more picky about the comics I was following. Also, your palette tends to change sometimes, and flashy superhero stuff maybe fell off my radar to an extent. Um, but comics were always there, and I would always revisit comics, and I'll get more in depth about kind of like where I came from, and the books that I looked at. I actually have a section of the videos, when it's more formatted, when it has more pizzazz. Um, I've got a segment I'm going to call "Pulls and Picks of the Week," which will involve the comics in my pull bag, and just the picks will be just comics that catch my attention, whether they be in the archive, or just back issues I've run into, whatever. And I'll give you a little sampling of that here in just a little bit if you hang on. Now, primarily, this will be a way for me to hype my own comic book, which is what I feel like the first comic that takes the subject of Bigfoot, and I don't want to use the word serious, but pulls from all the lore, kind of that's out there. and comes up with what I think, if a Bigfoot's out there, what it actually is, and how it interacts, and how it interacts with others of its own kind, and how they interact with humans, and how the humans react to all this goings on. That's what The Big is all about. The name of the book is The Big. And I guess I am segueing straight into talking about that. Here is my mini comic. It is the first chapter of the story that's planned for 4 issues, full-size issues. This one here is a 12-page manga-sized mini comic. But The Big takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and we in the first chapter we start to see people coming into contact, and it's all concentrated in a certain area, and there is dirty work afoot, as it were. So that is my book. It's out there. You can go to the Etsy store. There will be a link in the description below if you want to get a copy of this right here. I'm trying to keep it real. I'm trying to keep prices back to 1992 at least. So this is available with shipping, about $4. There might be a couple of fees or taxes tacked onto that, but that's what I'm trying to get that to you at, and I'm trying to keep the price as close to major comics that are out there on the stands. I've been playing DIY underground music all my life, and so I'm informed of putting out your own stuff from those old punk rock, sort of like DIY, put your records out. The days of buying a $3, 7-inch record, or, $8 for an LP. I mean, underground music kept the record industry alive, all through the 90s. That's why you see records in Target now, because of those punk bands. That was the cheapest way to have a small quantity of your music document produced. CDs were outrageous, and cassettes were dying out. So those bands, and they kept it cheap for a reason. And I'm trying to sort of do the same thing. I love to support independent artists, and I love to support people do self-publishing, making their own comics. And then you talk to somebody at a convention, and they're pouring their heart and soul. I mean, I'm pouring my heart and soul. I get it. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's a 24-issue, comic. They're like, yeah, $10. And I'm like, I get it. It costs. That's how much you have to pay to make your money back. And maybe you have, backers. Maybe you borrowed some money from people, and you definitely have to make it back, or whatever the cause is. I get it. But it's like, I can get a book by the world's best for half that. I might be getting into some shaky territory by making these comments, but I mean, honestly, like, I understand the economics of it, but I'm over here going, look, I'm putting my book out there. I'm, to most comic fans, I'm nobody. I'm just hoping to get some support, so I'm trying to keep my prices as low as possible, as comparable to a normal comic book price as I can, based on how much it costs. It's just me doing it. I don't have anyone to pay back. I don't have anyone to pay at this point. If I get 50 books printed at Comics Wellspring for whatever it is, 100 and whatever dollars. A lot of people spend a lot more than that on a weekend just doing, dumb stuff, right? So I figure, hey, that's gratifying to me, even if, I'm just printing, turning my money into these and just getting rid of them that way. If someone appreciates it, that's all I'm after. So that was a tangent. So yeah, The Big. That is my book. Hashtag Big the comic book. Um, Hashtag Comics in the Making. Instagram Comics in the Making. If I see, I'm gonna get a switcher. Neil the Switcher. Um, so there is how you can get to me right now. I mean, if you're on YouTube, you subscribe to the channel, please. This is where we're at. Um, Twitch, the live streams tend to go Saturday nights at 8. That's really just me live drawing and talking comics with whoever's in the chat. If you know, from this pitch, if you think this is rad and you got $3 a month to shoot my way, there's Patreon. Any comments, questions, concerns for my mental health, advice on doing taxes or how to get rid of poison ivy, whatever's on your mind, send it to bigthecomicbook@gmail.com. And please follow me, Comics in the Making, which I will share sort of the progress. But if I can go back to the Patreon, I I post up the pages as I make them, so you don't have to wait for the actual book to come out or be finished. I post pages, and oftentimes I'll post like different stages of development. On the Instagram, you might see the blue line, you might see me in the middle of inking, you might see a panel, but over on the Patreon, you'll see the pages when they're done in the raw, and then also the publication ready. Basically, you get a digital version of the book, page by page, as it's made. So that's how you can get a hold of me there, as well as staying tuned right here. So hopefully you're still with me. And to give another idea of how these will go going forward, it is time for the picks and pulls of the week. This week, I guess I don't have really any pulls. I have a couple picks. One I got this past weekend at my local awesome source for back issues, Hardy Boys Records and Comics. There's one in Mint Hill, North Carolina. There's one in Matthews, North Carolina. And I understand there's one on the way that's going to be a different part of Charlotte. So keep your eyes peeled for them. Hardy Boys Records and Comics. They're on all the platforms. You can find them there. You won't find better prices for those collectible records, collectible comics, collectible toys, and video game stuff too, and all things related as it comes in. So let's go to the comics. Let's talk comics real quick. I picked this up at Hardy Boys because I am a sucker for a 70s, just Marvel Tales or Marvel 2-in-1 or any of that kind of stuff. I think I got this here. This is number 100 from 1978, and it is cool. Obviously, Marvel Tales, they were reprints. This one reprints Amazing Spider-Man 123, and of course we've got Jerry Conway, Gil Kane, John Romita, Roy Thomas, editor. This is the time frame. We have the awesome Energized Spider-Man, which I believe, oh gosh, somebody did a sort of a deep dive into this toy. Oh, I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Retro Blasting. It was one of the Going Toy channels. It was good. It was fair, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to do like a cartoonist kayfabe, going through the whole comic and talking about the things. They do that. That's their thing. They do it really well. I'm not trying to ape or bite their style. But I was going through this. Here's the main story. And all that fun stuff. And of course, you get your hostess Twinkies advertisement. That's fun. Hey, guns are fun, kids. Get a gun. Crossbow BB guns. I grew up with them. What can I say? Fun story, classic, of course. But that's not what got my attention. what got my attention is once we get to the backups, right? So here's a backup. It's a Western, and Hawkeye's in there. That's cool. I didn't know about it, and I haven't even actually read that one just yet. Um, but yeah, I flipped through just to get familiar with it. This is where it all starts to come together for me. Because in these collections, there always seems to be like a Genesis story, or, time and time again. So the Secrets of Spider-Man. Here they are. They're explaining Spider-Man. We got inside facts about his powers, his problems, his personal life, as only Stan Lee and Steve Ditko can present them. I'm not sure if this actually uh, existed somewhere else prior to, or was made specifically for this issue. However, we have the retelling of how Peter Parker got his story. And I think we've seen this, not exact picture before, but a very similar, moving through the environment, how Spider-Man can move. And I think this was from a time when we would see a lot more of him using his environment versus always relying on his webs to swing from. A lot more jumping, grabbing things, flipping around, precarious balancing, yada yada yada. It's fun. It's great. But here's where it starts to hit something in my mind. Getting into the brass tacks of how everything works for him. And I had to stop. When I hit this page, I had to stop. Because in 1987, I bought this. And I wasn't really collecting comics yet. But I liked comics. It was some kind of road trip. This looked cool, flipping through it. And it's one of those things, there's no story. It is almost a whole annual of this section, right? Where it talks about, Spider-Man, how he got his powers. Of course, now, at this point, he's in the black costume. I think this is right around, obviously, this is still a symbiote. I don't think it's been, removed yet. I don't. Maybe it has. Maybe it hasn't. This came out. Well, the annuals come out in the summertime, right? So I don't know. You tell me. But here we have the telling of how Peter got his powers. Let's flip the page back real quick. Spot the difference. Here and here. And, I mean, they didn't reuse the same picture. Not exactly, right? Let's continue. So here we got Spidey demonstrating his abilities. He can stick to walls, ceilings, balancing. If we flip a page over here, sticking to walls. There it is. Let's keep going. Actually, let's turn this one real quick. Because they're kind of in a little bit of a different order. So now we got this one here. And now we got this one here. Right? And I'm not saying, oh, a big aha, gotcha, and I'm sure somebody can explain to me exactly how. So this is kind of cool. It's the same picture right here, these two. But we did redraw it. We did change it up. Made it a little more dynamic. But I think the building was reused. Or at least re-rendered, right? This one has more detail than the original. We saw the balancing act. We turn the page right here, and we're going to see. Let's go back. This one. Yeah, and we're going to see, kind of shot for shot, but the scale's different. And here we got the belt. We changed the logo. Um, we're doing this. We're swinging. Um, don't see the flashlight, so that's a new touch. That's cool. Um, but yeah, and that's not the first time I've found one of these things. I think it's neat. Oh yeah, the masks. Here we go. If we can get a look at the masks, and I think there's a little bit of a different perspective on the masks. So you know, I'm not I'm not mad about it. I'm not here saying, oh yeah, that's wow, what a find, what a you know I cracked the case of the whatever. It's cool to get a book in 2023 that was published in '78, and then all of a sudden see images that go, hey, wait a minute, I've got to get dig into the boxes and find this one because I have a hunch, and my hunch was correct. Um, yeah, no judgments about it, no anger or it's not some big take. It's just cool to see things like that. And there's a few more that I've come across that I will talk about later on in an upcoming episode. So yeah, that's the kind of thing that I like to talk about. Sometimes I'll just get an issue that I'm reading or just got, and tell you my impression before reading, after reading. Maybe get definitely get your input. That's what it's all about. I'm not here to look at myself in the monitor and see myself. I'm here to let you know what I'm onto, and this is it. So thanks for hanging out, and look for another episode soon. I'm of course going to refine all kinds of stuff, get some kind of jazzy intro or whatever. Some graphics popping up, um, and better setup, better microphone. I have the stuff. It's just not out here. I'll give you a tour. It's in the shot. That's a big no-no. Big no-no. Big no-no. But but yeah, I'll look forward to your feedback and input, and to talk comics with you again soon here at Comics in the Making. Y'all be good.